Ciao everyone, Ian, and here we are again talking about grapes. Another Italian grape today. As you know, this is the Ian on Grapes series of videos I do for the Indagata Wine Review. And today we're going to be talking about a real classic Italian grape called Barbera. Barbera is one of Italy's most popular grapes. It's a red grape, typical of Piedmont, but in fact it grows in many other regions of Italy. It's very common in Lombardy, where it is actually really a very common everyday wine. People in Milan drink a lot of Barbera, but it's also common in Emilia-Romagna and in other parts of Italy as well. Barbera is popular because the grape is easy to grow and because the wines are, frankly, quite enjoyable. So it's a grape that has a lot going for it. Barbera, the grape, grows very easily. Farmers love it. Grows straight up into the air, very productive. Very different from Dolcetto, for example, which instead requires a lot of work in both the cellar and the vineyard. So Barbera, good crop, easy to grow, resistant, hardy variety, and the producers love it. The wines are highly enjoyable. These are very fruit forward, high acid, very dark colored wines, very low on tannin power, and so they have lots of charms and many fans all over the world. All over the world, in fact, there are hundreds and hundreds of growers of Barbera grapes all over the world. There are over 100 growers of Barbera grapes in California alone, but the grape is grown and the wine is made now everywhere from Australia to South Africa to Chile to Argentina and to California and other countries as well, regions and countries as well. The key thing about a Barbera wine, remember, is that it'll always be very dark colored, much darker than Nebbiolo. A Barbera wine is purple and tends to stay purple even as it ages. Wines that have very high acidity and very low tannins. Because of these two last characteristics, Barbera wines can also be aged in small oak barrels, barriques, and therefore the color becomes a little darker and the acidity is somewhat softened. So when you buy a Barbera wine, you just have to know if you're going to buy a fresh, everyday Barbera wine, which is crisp and clean. Those can actually be bubbly sometimes because of the high acidity. Barbera is perfect with which to make sparkling wines. Or if you have an oak-aged wine, then that's going to be much richer, riper, structured a little bit more like a Barolo. And in Italy, you have many different types of Barbera wines, depending where the Barbera grows. In Piedmont, the most famous is Barbera d'Alba and Barbera d'Asti. Barbera d'Alba are usually more creamy and voluptuous. Barbera d'Asti are usually more nervous and higher in acid. But that's not necessarily true because, again, it depends on what the producer does. A case in point is probably the most famous Barbera wine of all, the Bricco dell'Uccellone by the estate called Braida. Braida was founded by Giacomo Bologna, one of the great men in Italian wines. His children Beppe and Raffaella are now running the estate and doing a great job. They make many different Barberas, and at the top end they make a bunch called Bricco della Bigotta, Aisuma, and this one, Bricco dell'Uccellone, which is the first real Barbera wine to have been aged in barriques way back at the end of the 1970s. So this wine is famous also because it's an historic wine. Bricco means the summit of a hill, Uccellone means of the big bird. This is a Barbera that is aged in small cold barrels, and it's remarkably rich, thick, layered, and very complex. It's just a great Barbera wines. A trick for you, if you want to know, is always buy the wine from a hot vintage. That's not what you want to do with Barolo or Barbaresco, but in hot vintages, Barbera shines. Barbera likes heat. So this is a 2017. It's one of the best Bricco dell'Uccellones Braida has ever made. This thing is thick, voluptuous, rich, suave, very layered, very concentrated, very complex. It's just a beautiful wine, and it really showcases how great Barbera can be. But again, there are many other Barbera wines worth buying and worth trying, and I urge you to give Italian Barbera wines a try because they're very food-friendly wines. especially when they're not over oaked. They're really a joy to drink. Good luck, enjoy your next Barbera wine, and if you have any questions, write to us here at the Indagata Wine Review. Ciao.